And I'll give you my quick little background, and then we'll talk Ciara. I approach everything from a corporate standpoint. I approach it as a distributor because that's where I started in the industry. Anybody in here was with XL Communications? Raise your hand. A few XL people. XL, youngest company ever to do $1 billion from internal sales, youngest company ever onto the New York Stock Exchange. Phenomenal success story in the network marketing industry. I joined in 1993. There were over 850,000 other distributors that joined at the same time that year in XL. And everybody said, well, you know, network marketing hit saturation point. No, I was able to go full time in that business in about a year because I was able to create enough income to do that. I cut my teeth on the industry. I started out, and after about 3 months, I was at about the $15,000 to $20,000 mark. I was $15,000 to $20,000 in debt after my first 3 months in the business. Okay? Everybody have guys stay up here and talk about, woo, got rich, made $1 million in 6 months. You ever heard that? That wasn't me. Do you know many people that have done that? I don't know many of them, and I've been in the industry a whole long time. I was horrible at this. I was miserable at this. And the reason I was is because I wasn't very coachable. I wasn't trainable. I knew a lot of friends. Everybody knew me. Everybody liked me. I was going to be able to sign up hundreds of people, and we were all going to get rich together. What I did is I helped to create the caller ID, basically. They didn't have caller ID in 1993. Back then, caller ID was called children. Okay? Call up and say, hey, is your mom home? Hold on a second. Mom, it's Paul. Are you home? Tell him I'm not home. She's not here. Tell her I heard her. I heard that. I can hear it in the background. Because I threw up all over my friends. I beat them up. I wanted to convince them that they need to be in my business. I didn't understand the basic dynamic of this business is that you want to work with the willing. I didn't understand that a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. I was going to, by force of personality, motivate people to join me because we could all get rich and make money. And I figured out that's not the way this works. I love the way Jeff talked about it, is that when you talk to somebody, you get to know them, you introduce the idea to them, and then you want to get their feedback. And some will, some won't, and you have to learn to be able to move on. You still love them. You treat this like a business. I got my teeth kicked in this industry. I was horrible. I got all my friends mad at me. Everyone's avoiding me. Christmas cards just about dried up that year because, you know, I don't know, they didn't want me to have their address or something. And I'm sitting here thinking this is horrible. Well, I wasn't going to quit because I was at least smart enough to know that you don't leave. You stay with it. What I did is I remembered something my dad said a long time ago. He said, if you want to achieve something, go find somebody that's achieved it and go do likewise. It is such a simple little saying. But for some reason, I'd gotten all in my own way. I humbled myself. I went to people that had created success, that had created $1 million incomes, and I said, what are you doing? Let me be a student. And they said, say this, and I said this. I didn't add a period. I didn't add punctuation. I said exactly what they told me to do. They said, call this many people. I called this many people. They said, make your list. I made my list. They said, meet people at Starbucks, meet people at coffee shops. I went and met people at coffee shops. I expanded. I had no more market after my first 3 months. I had offended every single person that I even knew remotely. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I had to go out and build a whole nother list, and I did that. And I met people and began to build a team, and I pushed through. I learned to treat this business like a business. Funny thing is once I did that, I was able to go back to all those people I offended. I was able to go back to them 6 months later and say, you know what, I want to apologize to you. I was an idiot. I threw up all over you, and I tried to convince you to do this business, and obviously this is not the right business for you. I just wanted to apologize because my friendship with you is more important than you working with me. The darndest thing is most of those people ended up coming into my business 2 months later when I took away all the pressure and say, this isn't the right business for you. I'm not going to push you. I'm not going to talk to you about it. I promise. I'll see you at Little League baseball games, and I'm not going to give you a brochure or a product sample, I promise. And they're like, oh, thank God. And they eventually all came into my business because they had looked at it from a business standpoint. I love this business. I love network marketing. It is the purest model of getting high-end quality products and services to an inline consumer. I've never seen a better business model than this. I like it. I went from success as a distributor to starting my own, one of the early network marketing e-commerce companies in 1996. We were full-on back office, full-on integrated e-commerce and internet, pay cards. We were an early internet e-commerce. We started that company. We were landlocked into the United States and merged that company in 2002 with a larger company called Lexus International. Came on as Exec VP of Sales and Marketing Global. Eventually became president of the company. As Kenny said, we went from a penny stock to about $28 on the NASDAQ, so I learned the public side and the finance side of the industry. We went from about $15 million a year to $600 million a year. We created over 30 millionaires in our company, and we did it about that fast. 24 of the millionaires came from China. We were one of the early companies into China. I was there along with Avon, Herbalife, Amway, Nu Skin, Melaleuca, Shaklee. What I got was an education. I had a front row seat to a company going small to big that most people never get a chance to experience. And I was smart enough to pay attention, basically, because there was a team of people that were making it happen and a team of distributors. And I paid close attention and I took good notes and I've kept the relationships around the world. So here we come to Ciara. I'm looking at Ciara for the last 2 years. I was there from the very beginning, talking to the guys that were starting it from the standpoint of the back office and the compensation plan. William Wong, who's the CFO, I hired William from Amway 10 years ago. He was Director of Operations, Amway Asia, great guy. Barbara in Slovenia, I'd worked with her for 8 years. She brought Tupperware into Eastern Europe. That's where I first met her. I was a member of the World Federation DSA Council, so I knew some of the people that she worked with. So I knew the team and I was involved with it from early on. And I watched to see what they were doing as I was on other projects and working on other projects. I got to a point in my life where what I'd done in the industry that I absolutely love, what I'd done in the industry that I'd seen change so many people's lives, I looked at what Ciara was positioned for. I looked at the international growth. I looked at the product, how easy it is to register and move into international markets. I looked at the systems in place that are going to allow this company to go from small to big. And I realized that this, in my mind, is the next great giant in this industry. I look at this industry from the standpoint of plenty, meaning I think that there's plenty for everybody. I'm a huge fan of the industry. We have found a niche and a toehold which is going to allow us to explode. Not only from the standpoint of the holographic chips, the teas which are unique, and we are now shipping out of Hong Kong, shipping throughout China. You have somebody in Beijing, Shanghai, they want to sign up in the business, congratulations, go sign them up. They can order product, we'll ship product to them, we'll send them a Payoneer card, and we'll pay them every single week. We are now doing business in China. We have consolidated it from a corporate standpoint into a regional approach so that China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan are under one regional Greater China Management Group headed for us by Vincent and Belsa out of Hong Kong. Again, these are people who I've worked with for about the last 8 years. I know them well. Vincent was there in the run that we made in China that we built up to about $30 million a month in income about 3 years ago. Know Vincent well. I know Belsa well. Everybody's scared of doing business in China from a corporate standpoint. American companies are, but really what they're scared of is finding the right people. It's all about the right people. It's all about finding the right management team that cares as much about your business as you do. So it's about trust. We've got the right people on the ground right now in Taiwan, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and eventually in China over the course of the next 2 years when we open offices in Beijing. Right now we're only doing chips. We're going to do a soft launch in Hong Kong November 28th, only for about 400 people. It's going to be a very small group. But we will be in China in a huge way in 2012. We've laid the groundwork for it right now. We'll have the opening of the office in Hong Kong. It's near Times Square, so it's on the Hong Kong Island side, if you know Hong Kong, as opposed to the Kowloon side. It's a beautiful little office right there, which will be customer service, full-on support, full-on web translated, everything that the Chinese, the Taiwanese, and the folks in Hong Kong need to be able to build a business. So what does that mean to you? You live here in Houston. Don't know anybody in China. That's okay. The idea is you build a team. You build locally right where you are. And you build your team as big and as quick as you can. If you have a team of 100 people, somebody will know somebody that lives in China. That's the way it works. Somebody will know somebody that lives in Slovenia or Romania, because that's the way it works. You don't get on a plane and fly over there. You find somebody here local that wants to build the business. They have a brother who lives in Beijing, and they get on the phone with the brother and they call the brother. If you don't have them right now, then build your team bigger. That's as simple as that. Your sphere of influence expands exponentially based upon the size of your team. How are you able to grow? How are you able to build? And I'll wrap up with this. You do it because you believe in yourself. You do it because you believe in yourself. That's the reason I love listening to Jeff. Guys, the biggest obstacle to your success is you. And so often people quit right when they're at the point of exploding. Ciara is at the point of exploding. 2012 is going to be a tipping point year for Ciara. For the products that we have in place, with the tools that we're rolling out at Vegas, and with the countries opening. And as we're solidifying our position in these countries, as we have the entities in place, as we get the right people on the ground in place, as we do all the translations necessary, we're talking about a viable business that you're doing in 12 different markets in 2012 with full-on translation. We're talking about being able to tie in to the strongest financial markets, currency markets in the world. First off, China. They artificially can control their currency. Well, what chance does a small business owner in Houston have a chance to get a part or earn income from China? They look at the volatility of the United States, they look at the volatility of the markets in Europe, and people say, where do I put my money? And some of them say, I'm going to go buy gold. But if they could start a business in China, would they do it, yes or no?
Yeah.
Absolutely. 1 billion consumers need your product right now. A product that is based on 3,000 years of medicine and science, which they advocate and believe in, and you don't have to convince somebody in Beijing that acupuncture works. Now you have a chance to plug into the strongest markets from a financial and business standpoint. You have a chance to build a business, not for $1 million. You don't have to go negotiate with a 3PL in Beijing. So we're building the foundation for you to go in and build a business, not start 3PLs, not figure out how to ship, not figure out how to move product in there, not hire people, not have customer support, not do translation. But what do? You build it here locally by getting a product that you believe in, sharing it with a few friends and family, and then find the people that don't want to just be customers, but they want to build a business, and then you help them and support them build the business.